Que lo que mi gente, it's your boy J-Rod and welcome to the channel. So yesterday, one of my subscribers actually sent me an email and they basically wanted me to share my thoughts and opinions on this situation that happened to one of their friends. So I told them that I'll do a little video and I'll leave their name anonymous because I don't got time for them getting cussed out by anybody. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of give my commentary on the situation and just kind of share with my thoughts. So I got my laptop, I'm about to read the email, and I'm going to break it down. All right, let's go. All right, it says, my coworker told me he had a friend who married a chick in the DR like me. I spoke to the guy one time in Spanish, and he replied, I don't speak Spanish, red flag. He said they communicated with a translator and been together 3 years. I'm like, what the fuck? How weird. Come to find out in the past, she was just a cuero, which kind of means like a thought, like, you know, like a whore or somebody. Something to hit, end up getting pregnant, so of course she played the field. He bought her family a house and all. Ended up doing the visa process for her. He got her kids and such here. Only been here 2 months and she dipped on his ass. She had a daughter that stayed in the U.S. already that he didn't even know about her daughter. Coached her through the whole thing. Last week, coworker tells me she lied and said that he was abusive, so she automatically get asylum and her papers much quicker. I told my wife about it and all she could say was, what did I tell you, my love? What did I tell you? Dominican women are actors and they betray. I felt bad for him, but how do you marry someone that don't even speak the language? Shit's crazy. He was an older guy, of course, but the reality of someone just wanting a visa is real. Then he sent another email and it just says, he showed me a few photos of them together. No one looks happy. They all looking with their evil eyes like he's a meal ticket. My wife told me plenty of stories of her cousins and neighbors, but I ain't know it was that bad. Her cousins always asked me to find them a good man in America, but I understand the urgency for a visa is more important than a good partner, especially when dealing with foreigners. Woo! Okay, so this is actually not the first time I've heard stories like this. This is actually very common, and it's usually where somebody, they find love overseas, and then, you know, they marry them and they take them over to the United States, and then everything just goes left. And usually one or two things happens in those situations. Either A, they just straight up and leave as soon as they get to America, or B, they get to America, but then they change because they get adapted to the American lifestyle and society. Because, you know, America is like a capitalist nation, so, you know, they start to change and they become Americanized, is like what people like to say. And so that like humble person or the person that you thought you knew, you know, back on the island, when they come over to the States, they end up becoming a completely different person. And I've seen this happen many times. And it's not just Dominican Republic, by the way. Colombia, Jamaica, Bahamas, Nigeria, it happens everywhere. But since this video is specifically about Dominican Republic, I do know many cases where people have married, guy and girl, okay, because it's happened on both ends, and they get over to the States and it just, the relationship falls apart. And I'm not going to say it happens to every relationship overseas, because I do have friends. I know quite a few friends who got married with their partner in Dominican Republic, came to the States, you know, bought a house, got family, got kids, everything went well and it worked for them. So it's not every situation, but I do know a lot of people who have married over there and then they get to the States, and or they plan on getting married in the States and then everything just goes left. One of the things you got to realize is when you're dating somebody from, let's just say, I don't want to call it a third world country because technically DR is not a third world country. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. When you're dating people coming from nations like that, very low income or impoverished societies, and then they're trying to make it over to something like America, a lot of these people tend to have the fight or flight mentality where literally they'll do anything it takes to get an opportunity to come over here. I got tons of friends in the Dominican Republic. Like, for example, my best friend, he is dying to come to the United States. Like, he really, really, really wants to come over here. And I mean, there's some Dominicans that they obsess over the United States. They just really are desperate about coming over here to have an opportunity. And so sometimes when you are dating someone, that could be something that you run into where they might not necessarily be in love with you, but they just need a way to get over here. Because like I told you, that fight or flight mentality, they will literally do whatever it takes to make it seem like they'll be down to be with you. And then, you know, the whole time in their mind, they have something else premeditated. So dating overseas, it can be kind of risky in that aspect. The key to having a successful relationship overseas is you got to have trust. You really got to build that strong foundation to know who you're dating. And sometimes that can be hard with overseas relationships, because if you're not constantly around that person, Like for example, if you only come around maybe once every 2 or 3 months, you don't really get to see or know everything that's happening. And sometimes it might be hard to read people's intentions, because if you're not constantly around them, like I said, you might not really get to truly know the person that you're trying to date or marry. I had one friend, he was with this girl in DR for about 3 years, and they didn't actually go through with the marriage. I think they were about to, but I mean, he was taking care of her kids, paying the rent, buying things, doing a lot of stuff for her, sending her tons and tons of money or whatever. And I knew that this girl was not a good girl for the guy. Like, I kind of kept telling him, like, man, I don't know about this one. I don't trust her, bro. Like, she just doesn't come off as like the loyal, the faithful type. Come to find out, I was right. She definitely was cheating on him, and she was using him basically. And like I said, this went on for about 3 years, and she finally confessed to it. But what's so crazy is this woman actually tattooed his name across her stomach just to prove how loyal she was and how down she was. Got a full tattoo, bold letters of this guy's name on her stomach. That's why I tell you, never underestimate how far people will go to prove how loyal they are to you. Just if they can use this as an opportunity to get to the United States. I'm not saying that every person you date in the Dominican Republic wants to come to the United States. But what I'm saying is you definitely need to make sure y'all have trust, and you have to know the person who you're dating. I don't think in this situation with this man that the email that I just read, I don't think he really knew his partner like that. One of the reasons being is they don't even speak the same language. It's like, how can you fall in love with somebody if y'all can't communicate or connect on an emotional level? And to be able to do that, you definitely have to speak the same language. I know they've been texting through Google Translate, but not even Google Translate really translates everything correctly. A lot of people don't know that about Google Translate, but Google Translate is not accurate, especially if you're trying to like have deep conversations, maybe surface level stuff. If you're trying to have deep, intimate conversations with someone, y'all definitely have to be on the same page language wise. When you look at the 5 love languages, one of the 5 love languages is words of affirmation. And that's actually my love language. Like when I'm dating somebody, I like to express my love through words of affirmation and let them know how much I care about them verbally. I'm also a physical person too. I do like physical touch too. That's another love language, physical touch. I'm big on physical touch, but if my physical touch and my words of affirmation aren't in unison, then I can't really fall for you. And I know a lot of guys that they can fall in love with someone's physical qualities, because men are visual creatures. So it's like, yes, men technically can fall in love with someone's body and stuff and not necessarily fall in love with them emotionally. Like, that's actually common with a lot of guys. But for me, I'm talking about if you really just trying to like marry somebody and be with somebody and like this is the person that you want in your life, if I can't connect with you on an emotional level verbally, then there's no way in the world that like I could fall for you in that type of way. Physically, yes, but beyond sex, if there's no emotional connection, then there's really nothing there. I don't know if he actually fell in love with her, or was he just falling in love with the idea of her and being in a relationship with her? Because that does happen too. Sometimes people, they fall in love with the idea of marriage, but not necessarily the person that they're marrying. Or maybe, like I told you before, it was her physical qualities and characteristics. Because if you look back in the email, it says that the dude was older. So I'm assuming that the woman that he married was a lot younger than him. And I know a lot of older people that like to date younger people because, like they look young, they look good. So I don't know, maybe he fell in love with the physical qualities of her. But at the end of the day, he definitely did not know the person who he was marrying, because when she got to the United States, she just left him. And then on top of that, she already had a child in the United States and she never disclosed that with him. And this woman from the jump already had it in her mind that she was going to leave this man. Now, whether this man intentionally knew these red flags or he was completely oblivious to them, red flags are there for reasons, guys. Red flags actually make these type of situations preventable. And I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've been in relationships in the past and I've ignored red flags. And unfortunately, it has cost me in the end by doing that, because I get it, it's like you try to protect your feelings and your emotions by trying to avoid certain things that you already know it could be going one way, but you just don't want to believe it to be true. And it can kind of cause you to be like in denial or to have a sense of delusion. You know how they say like love is blindness. And so you get like this tunnel vision. You're like, nah, like this is going to work. This is how it's going to be. And you almost do more damage in the end by getting hurt later by ignoring those red flags versus just, facing it right then and there when it happens. I've been in relationships in the past where I've ignored red flags, not necessarily in a situation like this. I'm just talking about dating in general, where like you dating somebody and you notice certain things about the person, it's just not working, but you kind of want to protect your feelings and your emotions about that person by trying to ignore certain red flags. And unfortunately that has costed me in the end, and it fucking hurts. It sucks. Like, it's not a good feeling, you know, and I don't wish that type of pain on nobody. When you really care about somebody and you have it in your head that you want to be with this person and you just want to try to make everything work out, you know, and so you ignore certain things, it's like you can do more damage in the end by doing that, and it's not a good feeling, bro. It's not a good feeling. So, like I said, if you see any red flags, like, you just got to address it immediately. And that way you can protect yourself from feeling more shitty in the end, you know? Because like I told you, I've done that before, ignoring red flags or not being honest with myself. And it's not a good feeling, man. It fucking sucks. It's like the worst feeling in the world. I definitely don't recommend doing that. So overall, what I'm going to say on the situation is, if you do plan on marrying somebody, you know, overseas and bringing them over to the States, just make sure you know who the person you're dating. Make sure that you don't ignore red flags. Do understand when you're taking somebody from their culture to another culture, there is that risk factor that this person could change. I'm not going to say it's always going to happen, but they don't have like a good, strong foundation or moral compass. Even if you did everything right and everything is going perfect, there still runs that risk that people do change when they come over to America. So I'm not necessarily against overseas relationships because I've seen it work out. You know, like I got tons of people I know, they married and everything worked out perfectly for them, but you just got to know who the person you dating. That's all. Yeah, I enjoyed this video. If you guys got any more topics that y'all want to send me, like little stories like that, y'all can email them to me, or you can send them to my DM. I actually did enjoy this video. But yeah, and I will leave your name anonymous so that way you don't got to worry about your privacy being leaked or anything. But thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Catch my next one. All right, peace.